To create a game, let's write a script that can control the character. Before writing the script, let's look at the states of the character. The character has 3 states. The idle state is nothing but a standing state by default. When in the run state, the character runs forward. When you press the left or right arrow key, the character moves with the running animation, and the direction is changed according to the key pressed. In the attack state, the character attacks with a sword, until the attack is over. Now let's see each state transformed. When in the idle state, press one of the left and right arrow keys to enter run state. Pressing the space bar will change to the attack state. Next, let's check when it is in the run state. Pressing the space bar makes it attack. Holding down the left and right arrow keys will keep the run state. If nothing is pressed, it returns to the idle state. The attack state is a bit special. In the attack state, all inputs are ignored. When the character's attack animation ends, it automatically changes to idle state. Let's write a script based on these rules. Create a C# script. Add the using code to use the AnyPortrait package. Add a variable to use the APPortrait object. Here, declare the transform object variable separately. It's much better to create and control the parent game object rather than moving the APPortrait object directly. If you add a collider, other effects, or a mesh, it's best to add it to the parent game object like this way. Make the 3 states described above as enum codes and add them as variables. The variable is first frame means when it is first updated after being converted to its respective state. Initialize the variable from the start function. Use the switch code in the update function to create different update functions for each of the 3 states. The update idle function is a function that operates in the idle state. If this is the first update after the idle state, run the idle animation using a portrait's crossfade function. Then, change is first frame to false to prevent the code in this part from executing at the next call. Spacebar makes the key pressed to change to the attack state. Makes the left arrow key or right arrow key pressed switch to the run state. The update run function is a function that operates in the run state. The code is almost the same as before. If it is the first update in the run state, the run animation will be executed. Pressing the spacebar key changes the state to attack. When the left arrow key is pressed, the character must run to the left. Makes it move by -30 per second. Since the character is looking left by default, the scale value is set to the default value. Conversely, when the right arrow key is pressed, the character should be looking to the right, so change the scale's X value to -1. If there is no key pressed, it goes into idle state. The update attack function is very simple. It is all about starting an attack animation when the update starts. This function needs to be written a bit more, but let's create this stage and open Unity scene once. Add a controller game object that will contain the script and a game object to be controlled. Register the baked APPortrait as a child of character game object. Make the position the same. Connect APPortrait and character game object to the script. When you run the game, you can move the character left or right or attack. However, after pressing the space bar to attack, it will not return to idle state again. This is because the script does not know if the attack animation is over. In order to know when the attack animation ends, we must use the animation event. Open the AnyPortrait editor and select the attack animation. Moves the slider at or before the end of the animation. Click the Animation Events button. Press the Add Event button and set the event name to Attack End. An event icon has been added to the timeline UI. Now open the script again and write a function with the same name as the event we just created. Create a new variable called isAttackEnd that stores whether the attack animation has ended. Now that you have created an event called attackEnd, create a function named attackEnd with the same name. When this event occurs, isAttackEnd becomes true, indicating that the animation has ended. And now, modify the code in the updateAttack function. Initializes the isAttackEnd variable to false. If the attackEnd event is called and isAttackEnd is changed to true, it will be in the idle state. Return to Unity scene, select AP Portrait, and link the script you created to the event listener. Now let's run the game again. You can see that the character automatically switches to the idle state after the attack.